From Bowl-A-Vard Lanes in Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Ho-Chunk Casino and Bingo Open, the fourth of 22 Open Division qualifiers of the Brunswick World Team Challenge. And we welcome you to Bowl-A-Vard Lanes here in the capital city of the great state of Wisconsin. Good to have you with us. And hello again, everybody. Jay Randolph along with Hall of Famer Earl Anthony. Earl, it's been a wonderful competition. We had 40 teams here. Now we're down to our final three, and Columbia Pulse is up on top.
They are, and they got there the hard way, really, if you look at it, because they did it by setting an all-time record in the Bowling World Team Challenge in the match play competition under the Baker system. They averaged 221, which is absolutely phenomenal. Nobody's ever even come close to that in the past. So they just dominated the match play.
Lynn's Limited is our number 2 qualifier.
Well, the perennial bridesmaids. These guys have struggled and struggled. They've been here many times before, and today they feel is their day. They're missing one of their champion or star players, you might say, but they've come together in the last 5 matches this afternoon to make a run at it again.
Lynn's Limited will go up against Hawthorne Lanes in our first match. Hawthorne Lanes made a big move late.
They did. They made the biggest move of any of our top 3. They really made a charge in the last few matches of match play, and they're captained by one of the professional bowling stars, Bill Spigner.
And we fill the frames. The Baker system action is coming up. Our first match, as it will be Hawthorne Lanes going up against Lynn's Limited. The Brunswick World Team Challenge is brought to you by the American Bowling Congress and the Women's International Bowling Congress, providing championship service to sanctioned leagues across the United States. Make sure your league is sanctioned by the national governing bodies. By Contour Power Grips, the pioneers of the finger grip industry. More pros choose Contour Power Grips. You should too. By Lynn Shoes. For the performance approach, it's American-made Lynn Shoes, the choice of bowlers worldwide. And by Brunswick. Bowling is sold on Brunswick worldwide. Gus Yannaras on the left for Lynn's Limited, and Don Scudder on the right for Hawthorne Lanes, and Scudder will lead off. Don's 43 years old, works for the state of Ohio as an investigator from the Cincinnati area. 43 years old. 2 games in this first match. The winner to face Columbia Pulse, and he leaves the 10.
Don Scudder, one of those throwbacks, you might say, to the old era of just get it from my hand to the pocket and eliminate all the vagaries in the lane, anything that can go wrong. So he's playing right off the edge of the lane, going very straight, and he will hit the pocket, and he's an excellent spare shooter.
The top 3 players on this team, Spigner, Pollard, and Scudder, were the 96 ABC Tournament Team All-Events champions. Got a lot of talent on this team that, as we mentioned, came a long way to get into the 3rd position and make the TV finals. Here's Gus Yannaras, 39 years old, operates a tavern in West Allis, Wisconsin.
His father's here to watch him this week, and he was really yelling at him in match play, trying to get him pumped up. The team was down a little bit. They had some changes in their lineup that got him a little distracted, but they came back very strong.
And he gets them all.
Scores have been good this week, Jay. We've had some outstanding scores, and it's carried right on. I think it's going to carry right on through our telecast here.
The starting lineup brought to you by Contour Power Grips, pioneers of the grip industry. More pros choose Contour. You should too. Don Pollard has it on the way, the Brooklyn, and he's got them all. Pollard, 34 years old, a bowling proprietor from Versailles, Indiana. Well, here is Ryan Lever. Here is their lineup, presented by Contour Power Grips. More pros choose the Contour Power Grips, and you should too. Lever, getting a look at him for the first time, and it looks pretty good.
Well, Lever actually is replacing the dominant player on the team this week in the qualifying rounds. Gary Dervashevsky had to leave. He had a promotion going at his bowling center, Classic Lanes in Milwaukee, and so he decided he would go home. The team knew about this on Friday. So they had their sixth man available, and it did hurt him in match play. The first 4 or 5 matches, it took him a while to get adjusted to the conditions, but they came back strong as a good unit, and here they are.
Spigner has it on the way and a strike. There is Bill's family. Jimmy and Robbie, the youngsters. Wife Barbara, they're on hand.
Robbie's 14 years old. He's 15 now. When he was 14 last year, Jay, he had a 762 series.
Wow.
Wow is right.
The veteran Lennie Boresch, pro shop owner, lives over in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And the Brooklyn hit, and he leaves one there.
Well, it's right in the middle. He shouldn't have any problem with this one.
No, the high roller group from out in Las Vegas is presenting the tournament series bonus. If a team picks up a 240 game and a 450 series, 500 for each of those, and actually if you have the 2 games over 450, you can win as much as $1,500 from our friends at the high roller tournaments. There you see 240 game, 2 of those, and a 450 series, $1,500 in the pocket.
Those high roller events outstanding for the amateur bowlers, Jay, and a lot of money available. Tremendous prize funds.
Here's Dave Wellage. Dave, who works with his dad in the tool and die business in Cincinnati. Wellage Tool and Die.
There's a unique name, huh?
Yeah.
I wonder who thought of that name for that company.
Named it after the family, right?
Yeah.
He was the '94 Hoinky Doubles Classic Scratch Champion. Got some really outstanding bowlers on today's TV finals from here in the Wisconsin capital.
We do. This is one of our stronger fields, I think, actually, player for player. It's just about as good as we've ever had, right on down through the 15 players out there.
Steve Brinkman, a marketing rep from Sussex, Wisconsin, was a member of the '94 ABC Tournament Team champions. Looking good. Lynn's had the high team game, 1192, and the high Baker game at 276. There's the way it is early on. Even Steven. And now you get a look at Nick Vogelsang, 30 years old, works for the Wellage Tool and Die in Cincinnati, but bowls most of the time. Gotta hurry. Well, he left that one way outside. Nick won the '96 Super Bowl High Roller Championship in Las Vegas, $100,000.
Well, here's a look at that last shot. Gets it out near the channel, and it's just too far down the lane to quite get back. The 210, a difficult spare for the right-handed bowler. He'll go down the left side of the lane with a lot of ball speed, but just gets too much of the 2-pin.
So the anchor man for Hawthorne Lanes is open, and here's the veteran Dale Traber. Dale, who lives in Cedarburg, Wisconsin, a Milwaukee suburb, bowling proprietor. He had the high individual series here this weekend, 724.
We used to call him the Iceman because of his ability to perform under pressure in the 10th frame. Now they call him the Ice Machine, Jay. He's put on a couple of pounds.
And he gets the job done.
That's what I meant about the first part, the Iceman.
Linz and Hawthorne in a good one here. We'll be back with more in Bowl-A-Vard Lanes. They'll be celebrating their 2nd anniversary in January here. Beautiful facility. What a marvelous house this is. Scudder ready to go.
Scudder needs to get this team going here now. They're starting to get in trouble early on in the match.
Deep trouble there.
Well, he got that one out. Now, if you get he's playing right on the edge of the lane, actually looking at the first board. And if he gets it going straight down that first board, it will not roll up. If he starts it on the first board and goes directly at him, it will. But see this ball going straight down the lane, it's never going to get friction there. He's got to go on the 1 board and at the arrows maybe be on the 3 board.
Was out there in Never Never Land.
Scudder, one of the better spare shooters around. He doesn't miss very many.
Michael Reppus Reed from here in Madison, ABC director. Oh, he's got a good voice. Here's Gus Yannaras, 89 ABC doubles champion.
Chance to add to their lead here on a double.
He comes through.
That's been one of the better shots this week. If you can keep it high in the pocket, trip the four, you get an opportunity to just really string some strikes. Look at the style of Gus Yannaras going to the foul line. Very deliberate player. Watch how the arm cups and he goes around the ball at the bottom. You see the hand coming around the side. That gives it that rotation. That makes it spin. You can see it spinning down the lane. Picks up the roll at about 55 feet. Trips the four.
And the 10 pin for Pollard.
Hawthorne Lane's in a bit of a struggle right here, Jay, and if they don't get something going early, even though it's a 2 games total pin match, it's sometimes very difficult to come back from a 40 or 50 pin disadvantage in a 1 game.
Earl, I'm reminded that Pollard is the youngest bowler ever to qualify for an ABC Masters match play. He did that at age 15 back in 1977.
I remember I was there. Ed Bauer, our producer, was there also, running the tournament, as a matter of fact.
Here again is Ron Lever. Bill Pounders, executive manager of this fine facility, Bowl-A-Vard Lanes. Lever is from St. Francis, Wisconsin, a design engineer. Got to hurry. Uh-oh.
Wait a minute.
Uh-oh. He's looking at the goalposts.
Yeah, and really that was a very unfortunate break for him and his team because the ball was a light pocket hit. And generally, you'll get at least 9. Here's another look at it. Generally, you'll get at least 9 on this hit. And this time, gets all 8 out of the middle and leaves the corner pins. Very unusual leave for that hit.
And they look like they might have a good shot at that $500 bonus for the 240 game. Lever is open. Bill Spigner. 3 PBA Tour titles and 7 regional titles. He is from Vernon Hills.
Still taking a lot of time on this shot.
The facility at Vernon Hills Lane, or Hawthorne Lanes in Vernon Hills, of course, was the site of the only 300 game bowled in the World Team Challenge in our first season. Came up a little short.
Bill doesn't look real comfortable out there. He doesn't look like he's really figured out exactly what he wants to do with the bowling ball yet. Generally, when a player takes that much time, he's being indecisive more than anything else. And here he looked like he got out of the ball fairly well, made a pretty good shot, and the ball just doesn't react back up to the pocket area. Almost like a safe shot, like he was afraid it was going to hit the nose.
Both of these teams, Hawthorne Lanes and Linz Limited, were 5-5 in match play. Oh my.
And not a normal mistake for Bill Spigner. He's generally a good spare shooter.
This is a 2-game match. The winner will face Columbia Pulse for the championship.
There, another look at that ball hooking in front of the 8 pin, just taking out the 2. Linz with an opportunity to really get something going and get away. They get the bad break for Lever, and now the bad shot through the nose, and not an easy spare here. And there's the boss.
Jeff Lind, who's been a tremendous supporter of the World Team Challenge over the years. He hopped on board back in '92, the first year. Lynn Shoes. Jeff, great supporters.
And he's a great guy. He sits there and suffers right along with this team that he sponsors here, Gus Yannaras and the guys. He just wants them to win so badly, and they're trying so hard. And they just continually finish second. So maybe this will be his day and theirs.
They're making a very nice golf shoe these days. Telling you. Dave Wellage.
That's trouble. Oh boy. Well, he got away with it. Only the 5 pin. Could have been a lot worse. That ball was left when it left his hand. It was going toward the left side of the head pin. It never had a chance. I don't know what he was thinking here or trying to accomplish, but that ball was way left. And maybe he thought it might skid a little more in that area of the lane. But you can see the look on his face that, oh boy, give me a break. All right, easy spare. The key, we say so many times, and I know you're all tired of hearing it, fill those frames, and that's what he did.
Here's Brinkman. Brinkman's 3rd TV appearance, 32 years old. Looking good.
A little bit too much back in there. Really a good shot. The ball hit extremely hard, left the 4-pin. Ball was cutting through. Could have been a 4-9, so it was not a bad leave here. Lynn's getting out to an early lead, and this, remember I mentioned a 2-game total pin match. This format here is all of the teams bowled 6 qualifying games, regular team games. Then based on total pinfall, we cut to the top 10. Look out, there's a major mistake.
Wow, they were getting out to a nice lead, but that mistake will give Hawthorne Lanes an opportunity to close the gap.
No question. There's another look at it. The ball has left his hand early and was going left when it did leave his hand. Never had a chance. After they've completed their qualifying of 6 games, total pins carry over into the top 10 teams going to match play. They bowled 10 2-game Baker matches with bonus pins, and you see the top 3 teams here right now.
And you just watch Nick Vogelsang with a big strike. This fella handles pressure as good as about anybody you can find. If you want somebody to throw that one ball for all the marbles, this guy is amongst the best.
No question. And you know what, Jay? I'll spend my observation over the years that the players that handle pressure the best are the ones that are almost always at their maximum physically at that point. In other words, if they're throwing it either as hard as they can or lifting it as hard as they can repeat the shot under pressure. If you're a finesse player, it's more difficult because you have to feel what's going on, and if you're under pressure, the butterflies are going, your respiration is at a high level. It's hard to feel or be a finesse type player. So the players that are throwing it extremely hard or cranking it extremely hard can repeat the shot more often than the players that are finesse players under pressure.
Nick is very strong.
Oh yeah, this guy is a great athlete, extremely strong.
Of course, you were a finesse player and did rather well under pressure, but you were something
choked all the
special.
time. I choked all the time.
Yeah, right.
I always found a way to lose. That's why I got all those seconds.
Uh-huh.
I even lost to Ed Bauer once.
And
now,
45 first, right?
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
All right, here's the ice
Traber, right.
Now here's a guy who does exactly what I'm saying. He does what he does best. He goes off the edge of the lane and throws it very hard and firm. And that's why basically he is pretty successful. He doesn't try to do something that he's not capable of doing. And he does what he does very well. He can repeat it because he does it all the time. He tries to stay out of trouble and keep the game as simple and basic as possible. And that's what we should all do, really.
His brother David, a very fine bowler. Together they were second, or he finished second to his brother, as I remember, in the '94 PBA Nationals. Brother David. Uh-oh.
Well, he stuck a little bit on the approach. And
yes, he did.
I don't know what happened there, whether he stepped
He doesn't either.
and he got a spare ball, but what a terrible finish for the Linz team in that first game.
Yes, indeed. It is a lead of 10 for Linz. We'll be back. This will lead off for Linz Limited. Switching lanes here.
So much of this game in the team format, as we experience under the Baker system, is emotion. And right now, the Linz team was in his driver's seat, you might say. And then they opened the 9th and 10th with 2 easy spares they missed. Gus trying to get him going again here, and another good shot that didn't strike. But you see the emotion of Gus Yannaras, and he's talking to not only his team but the opponents as he goes by.
High games, Linz Limited. Right out of the box, they had that on their first game. Brinkman at 286. You see Shields a little later on. Gus to pick up the spare, and he does. High series. Dale Traber, as I mentioned earlier, with that 724. Keith Garrett. They didn't make the finals, but he had the high average at 232. See Kevin McGerr a little later on in our championship match as he represents Columbia Pulse. Scudder's shot and a problem.
Well, I think Scudder just out on the edge of the lane a little bit too far. If he were to move his feet and his target a board or two to the left, he might get a little more consistent ball reaction. But he's on the edge of the lane, and it's just not getting a good reaction halfway down. As you look at his lifetime stats there, Jay.
12 Baker games, 6 opens in the 12 games.
That's 24 attempts. So out of that many attempts, actually 29, because he must have got an extra spare shot at bowling anchor or something like that. He did pretty good, reasonably well, but right now he's not doing very well, and his team is struggling quite a bit. They're fortunate to be this close.
Here's Ryan Lever.
only down by 10 after the first game when Linz could have had a substantial lead. I like Ryan's game, even though you know, he didn't bowl his penalty, or you might say not a penalty really, but his problem was he didn't get an opportunity to bowl any of the qualifying games. He didn't start the tournament until match play after Gary Dereshevsky left to go attend the charity function at his bowling center, and you see his fingers taped together there for strength as he shoots the spare. The 3-6-10 cross lane, try to get the ball between a 3 and a 6, and look at. That's another major mistake. Now Linz, the last 4 attempts, have missed 3 spares.
Yeah, they're really they run into a what you'd call a stone wall scoring-wise here all of a sudden.
Well, all of a sudden they need to sit down and talk to each other and pay attention, because they are donating this tournament back to Hawthorne. Not the tournament, but this match. They're keeping him in the match, and it shouldn't be that way right now.
Pollard gets the strike.
You've got 5 guys on the other side of the bench. They're all very talented. You keep giving them opportunities, and eventually they're going to jump on you. And this is what's going to happen here. Hawthorne's going to come back, and Linz continues to make these kind of mistakes. It's just going to be over with early here.
When they qualified for the Grand Championships last year, he was one of the keys. Lennie Boresch coming up a little short.
Now, this spare is not a gimme here, the 2-8. And he wants to hit both of these pins with the bowling ball. You see, as so many players, he'll go over and get another ball, a ball that doesn't hook as much, and try to be very accurate.
Lennie's been in 18 Baker games, his lifetime TV stats, 36 frames and only 5 opens.
Both pins with the ball. Now be careful. Very well done.
92 Wisconsin State match play champion. Bill Spigner.
See if Bill's a little more comfortable now. Remember, he didn't look like he was really feeling comfortable on the left-hand lane. Almost like I'll throw it and see what happens rather than making something happen. Now he's moved in toward the center of the lane. That ball never had a chance. And you can see Bill talking to his teammates as he comes back and scratching his head. He's still confused. And he's left himself a difficult spare, the 5-9. A lot of ways to miss this, and really you want to get both pins with the ball if you can. Fit it right between the 2 of them there, but if he were to get a little soft for the speed, it'd be easy to chop the 5 off the 9, so he has to be careful.
Bill is the oldest of our competitors among these top 3 teams at age 48. Good shape at age 48, I'll tell you.
Well, his wife Barbara makes him work hard. That keeps him in shape.
We'll return with more of the Brunswick World Team Challenge from Madison, Wisconsin. Up by 6. Brinkman left the 2-8-10 and was open, and Wellage struck. And here is Traber. A little high, but he gets them all. That might be the break that Linz needs to get going.
Well, they
again.
need something to loosen them up. You see all the team up off the bench, and they're looking for any help at all right now. The Jersey squasher, he just pushed him out like a bulldozer. Here's a shot they really need, Jay, because they're on a strike, and Nick has a chance to get a double, get his team going, and that's what you're looking for. Some kind of an emotional lift, and there it is.
He's tough. He is some kind of tough.
He's so strong physically, and you can see what he does to that bowling ball. He just revs it up like it's got a motor on it, and Nick knows it's there. And there's his reaction, which is, wow, it's about time I got one.
Gus Yannaras. Tough break there.
Yeah, Gus spinning the ball a lot more than I've seen him do in the past. Normally he has a little higher roll in that, but he's really getting around the side of it, and the ball's getting well down the lane, and I'm sure he's doing it intentionally. But watch the release. Watch his forearm come around the ball. You see where he's at now behind the ball? See it coming around the side now? And at this point, instead of lifting up, he continues to rotate. Now, if he were lift at the point at the ball's coming off his hand, he would get a higher roll. But he continues to rotate, creates a spin, much like he does on his spare ball there for the 10 pin. And that gets the ball behind the head pin a little bit. So maybe he's just trying to overcome some kind of a lane condition out there that I'm not aware of to get it down the lane. But that's exactly why he's leaving the 10 pin.
Don Scudder, the 1982 ABC team champion.
Let's see if Scudder makes any kind of a move. Now, remember, his last 2 balls hung on the edge of the lane and barely stayed on, actually. So he has to be careful here. One in the channel would really be disaster. There's a little better, but it's not going to roll out. He's just having all kinds of problems. He's afraid it's going to go high, so he continues to be very cautious out there on the edge of the lane instead of being aggressive. And Scudder normally an aggressive player, and you can afford to be aggressive when you don't hook the ball a lot because you know you're not going to get a violent reaction on the back. So I'm kind of surprised with all of his experience that he's not trying to be more aggressive and attack the pocket. Now the bucket, the 2-4-5-8, and a very difficult spare, plus the loss in count on the double.
Well, very well done.
That got his heart pounding a little bit watching him go down there.
Hawthorne Lanes up by 12. Well, we're here, of course, at Bowl-A-Vard Lanes. Don Boosen, the proprietor. Great staff here and a wonderful group of people helping us out here.
And a good shot there by Ryan Lever. And you know, he's again, he's in a position where no matter what happens, he's going to feel a little responsible if he bowls well or if he bowls poorly or if the team does well or poorly. He's going to feel like, you know, I'm a late Johnny come lately, and all I can do is do the best I can and hope it's enough.
Ron Pollard.
No weaknesses in this lineup from Hawthorne Lanes. All outstanding players. Set an all-time ABC record for the team all events last year.
We'll return with this opening match's conclusion right after we take time out for these messages. Back here at Bowl-A-Vard Lanes. Lennie Boresch. How to pick up this spare.
Only the 4-pin. Shouldn't be a problem for Lennie.
Yep. Well, there's Tracy. And I believe it's pronounced Bussin? Bussin? Okay, I want to get that correct. There they are. I apologize, but it is Bussin.
Well, they're both very nice people. I'm
They
sure they
sure
don't
are.
mind if you call them by their different name there, Jay.
What a wonderful, wonderful bowling center.
Oh, yeah, and they were so good to the bowlers. They had a great buffet for the players after the qualifying rounds. I mean, everybody loved it.
Brunswick Frameworks, it's an outstanding facility. The best equipment and
all the latest stuff right here.
just adds to the facilities of this wonderful city. The Wisconsin capital, one of the most beautiful cities in America. The lakes here and the isthmus downtown between the two lakes with the state capital, the University of Wisconsin. Marvelous area.
All right, the 3-6. Both pins with the ball, cross lane. Bill Spigner, he's in trouble. My, I can't believe it. Bill can't believe it. Neither can his family. They're all looking on and saying, this is amazing. Now, they're getting ball reactions out there. I don't think they're expecting. Talking it over back there, probably would like to give him some advice, but that was Bill's last chance to help his team unless they win this match.
The lead is 2 for Hawthorne Lanes.
Now we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. The guys bowling in the 4th spot for their team want to load it up for the anchorman, and there's a great shot.
Oh, Brinkman comes through big time.
Well, that puts it up to the ice box, ice machine or whatever.
And Gus Yannaras, who's kind of the team leader when it comes to the chemistry, he's saying to Dale, you know, get ready, man. We need you now, and let's see what Wellage can do.
Well, Wellage has to answer that. He really does. It's remember, you just mentioned it's a 2-pin difference right now between the two teams. So even if they both strike and then strike in the 10th, the pin count is going to be so important.
Got to hurry. Boy.
Well, the important thing is he's going to get a mark here. He's going to make the spare. It's only the 4-pin, an easy spare. And if he fills the frames, you can see the tension in the faces. They're talking it over.
Those are the key people right there.
Those are the anchormen.
and Traber, left to right.
Now, Dale is playing an extreme outside angle, and he's going to finish first on the left-hand lane, lane 9 here. And when I say he's playing an extreme outside angle, that means he's playing near the ball return when he stands on the left lane. So when he stands there, he almost lines up with the ball in the ball return. So he has to be careful when he goes by that he doesn't bump it. And that has to be somewhat of a distraction. So watch how he stands when he sets the ball in his hand here and gets ready to start his approach. He's very near the ball return, very close.
Anybody's match. Traber was the 94 PBA National Resident
Look at
Pro
this shot,
champion.
Jay. Look at this shot from behind.
Yep.
Look at that. Oh, boy. So he actually has to walk around the ball return. That's as good as you can do it, and they are out there. But it's not over.
Oh, no.
It's not over yet.
Traber looking up at the scoreboard. He's been in this position many times, Earl.
Yes, he has. And they've been unfortunate many times also in the past. And Nick sitting on the bench knowing that it's not over, and that just means he's got to throw one more strike than he would have before. This is the one that does the job. Oh, yeah, a little high.
He got him. Wow.
Maybe this will be the week that Lance finally gets it done. Who knows?
They earned the spot in the Grand Championship for accumulating the most points as a non-winner last season.
Now, that's not where you want to be.
No, you don't want to try that again.
And Nick sitting there and being the athlete that he is and a great player, thinking if I'd only had the opportunity. And you have to look back through the whole 2 games. You can't blame it on what could have happened in the 10th frame.
Well, that's going to do it for Linz. A tremendous finish for Dale Traber, and Linz Limited will go against Columbia Pulse of Lincoln, Nebraska for the championship. And let's see how he's going to shoot this, Earl.
Well, you know, I'll tell you what. This looks a lot harder than it is.
Yes, it does.
He's going to fit it between the baby split on the right and watch the 3-pin go over into the 7, just like that. Oh, almost.
Oh, almost. Take a look at some of the other finishers here, as it is Linz Limited getting this first match. Finishing 4th, Team Concept 5 from Milwaukee. Mark McDowell in the center there.
Past president of the PBA there.
Yeah.
And Mark now basically retired. Jace Peterson on the left. There's Tony, one of our all-star players, you might say. One of our really good shooters on the team. We put him on our all-star team, the Budweiser team there.
Yes, sir. Madison Heights, Michigan. Very like those shirts. They finished 7th. There's Denny Torgerson, 2nd from the right, the senior player. They finished 8th. Highland Park Bowl from Moline.
Yeah, there's one of my. There's Tom Mitchell. I bowled in a league with the guy on the right there. We bowled in a Baker League with Eddie Bauer. I bowled in a league that Eddie Bauer bowls in, and he was one of the players on the other teams.
Kelly Tyer's team from Monroe, Wisconsin, finishing 10th. So it is Linz Limited that has won this first match. And we'll have Around the Bowling World coming up right after we take time out. Now it's time to go Around the Bowling World, brought to you by the High Roller Tournaments at the Showboat Hotel in Las Vegas. The bowling gods gasp again as Steve Lewis's brush with a perfect 900 series recently fell 1 pin short from bowling's yet unattainable feat. The Xenia, Ohio resident threw 35 consecutive strikes, then left a 6-pin on his last frame for the 3rd 899 series in ABC history. Lewis joins Delaware's Ron Prettyman and Tom Jordan of Union, New Jersey in the 1 pin shy of 900 club. One of bowling's great personalities, Team USA coach Fred Borton, has been named Bowling's Coach of the Year by the United States Olympic Committee. The award nominates Borton for the USOC's National Coach of the Year honors, that award to be presented later this month in Tampa, Florida. Speaking of bowling personalities, my Brunswick World Team Challenge color analyst and Hall of Famer Earl Anthony continued his successful return to pro bowling by picking up the Bowling Writers Association of America Bowler of the Month award for September. The legendary left-hander captured his first title after a 5-year layoff in winning the Naples, Florida Senior Classic. Earl started his comeback in June at the Brunswick World Team Challenge event in Baltimore. He's been on fire ever since, leading the senior circuit with a .225 average. Spots are still available for the 94th Annual ABC Championship to be held for the first time in Huntsville, Alabama. Over 8,900 teams have entered the Showcase of Bowling, which is scheduled to run from February 8th to June 8th, 1997. For more information, call the National Tournament Hotline, 800-211-1358. Around the Bowling World has been brought to you by the High Roller Tournaments. Call 800-257-6179 for information on how to enter. We'll return with our championship match. That's coming up next. Challenge is brought to you by Ho-Chunk Bingo and Casino. Good friends, good fortune. And there's our friend Ralph Snake from the Ho-Chunk Nation. And we're ready for our championship match. Gus Yannaras on the right, Mike Shady on the left. These guys will start it off.
They bowled each other a few times over the years in this area, Milwaukee and Madison. And this should be a great match, Jay. I'm looking forward to some excitement here. I think it's going to be a higher scoring match, and I think it's going to come down to the last few frames. Now, how's that? Come on, Gus. Get some roll on it one time. There you go.
Gus opens with the strike. Remember, we have the high score bonus presented by High Roller Tournaments. Pick up $500 bonus if you roll a 240 game. $1,500 for the 450 series. And now, you youngsters at home that would like to copy somebody with your bowling style, look at this young man, Mike Shady from Oshkosh, Wisconsin. 31 years old. Smooth and strong. What wonderful form. Got it a little high.
Got away with one there. Briefly, the 4.67, only the 4.7. Mike, one of the classic stylists, just love to watch him bowl. He just gets to the foul line so solid, Jay. Here's another look at the style of Mike Shady from the side. Good free arm swing from the shoulder. Real steady head, the shoulders right out over the knees, as you can see. That's perfect position, a little high in the backswing is all. But watch his position at the foul line. The balance, he'll get right to that point with the shoulders over the knee, and that's where he can stay for the next 20 minutes without moving. That's how solid he is.
Mike, who is on the ABC Ambassadors staff, one of the very nice people in their game. Ryan Lever.
Ryan just loved to get a double, get Linz out of the gate here, and get him into the lead early. Remember, the Columbia Pulse team was the team that just set the record for Baker system match play, averaging .221, the all-time record. So they're going to be tough to beat. And Linz, I'm sure, is very, very much aware of that. So they need to get something going early. And this is not how you do it. The washout, the 1-2-4-10. Gets his spare ball, and he's going to try to hit the head pin on the left side, drive it into the 10. The ball will take out the 2-4. Looking to get it down the middle of the lane here with pretty good ball speed so it doesn't hook. Oh, what a bad break.
Looked like he might have that 10 pin, but he didn't. Starting lineup brought to you by Contour Power Grips, pioneers in the finger grip industry. More pros choose the Contour, and you should too.
Greg Shields up on the right-hand lane. This is our first look at him, and he's had a lot of success on the World Team Challenge before. In fact, everybody on this team, Greg, has won as a World Team Challenge member. Not together, but have been on winning teams. So this is a very experienced, qualified team. And watching them in practice, remember I commented how they were all throwing strikes?
Right.
Here Greg gets up there in his first ball and whizzes the head pin. So that gives you an idea what these television cameras can do to a person's concentration.
Clean in 12 games, no opens. And gets the spare.
And Greg comes back, a look on his face says, wow, was I ever lucky there. He was trying to hit the left side of the head pin, and the ball just skidded back into the pocket area, and he got all three of them. Lennie
Boresch for Linz Limited, who defeated Hawthorne Lanes by 30 pins in our opening match. A strike for Boresch.
What makes the Baker system way of playing team bowling so difficult is that everybody has to perform well to score well. So if you go strike, open, strike, you're not doing very well. Yep. So Lynn's, even though they've got 2 strikes in 3 shots, it's the one in the middle that is determining their outcome, their fate, you might say, because that was an open.
Jim Dill Jr., 38-year-old telephone technician. A strike for him. Big guy out of Lincoln, Nebraska. We'll return with more of the Brunswick World Team Challenge from Madison, Wisconsin. Steve Brinkman rolling for Lynn's Limited.
Chance to take an early lead here with a strike. Well, got a break, Jay. He leaves only the 2-4. Could have been a lot worse. The 5 was standing, which would have made it a much more difficult spare. Now, pretty easy spare here. Just hit any part of that front pin and have the ball drive through into the second pin, which is the 4. No problem.
88% marks in match play for Brinkman.
Opportunity wasted. They're still scattering their strikes out. Strike open, strike spare. It's not going to get the job done.
Here's the only lefty among the bowlers in today's television finals. Rick Miller from Lincoln, Nebraska, 27 years old.
And as so often happens, first time around in front of the television cameras, Rick got a little fast with the feet, as you see his lifetime TV stats up on the screen. Done pretty well, Jay, considering only 3 opens out of all those opportunities. This not an easy spare. The 2-4 for the left-hander, a lot more difficult than for a right-hander. Good cover.
The Iceman, Dale Traber.
In order to take advantage of a guy that is bowling as well as Dale is, you need to get some strikes around him. In other words, the guy in bowling 4th has to throw a strike once in a while, and the guy bowling leadoff has to get a strike, because that gives you a 3-bagger with Dale in the middle. So when you got a guy that's bowling as well as he is, they need to help him. And that's how you
really in a groove, Earl.
Yes, he is. And that's how you win these matches. You need to take your strength and build around it, and they just can't seem to get that going, even though they did survive that first match, because Hawthorne Lanes couldn't seem to get anything going either.
This is Kevin McGerr. Won National PBA Tour title. He's from Lincoln, Nebraska, and he gets them all.
Well, he's the guy that put this team together, the captain of the team, and a very strong, experienced player, as all 5 of these players are. Interesting, they qualified as the tournament leaders, and so they got, as you see the stats of Gus Yannaras, they had the opportunity to pick their starting and finishing lanes, and they decided they wanted to finish on the left-hand lane, which gives Kevin McGerr the opportunity to finish this match first, which means their team will be sitting on the bench with their anchorman done bowling before Dale Traber has the opportunity to finish the 10th frame for Lynn's shoes.
Well, you mentioned earlier that Gus is throwing the ball today with a lot more spin. You could see all those revolutions going down there, and it didn't seem to catch up to what he wanted.
That's right, Jay, and catch up is a good word, because if the ball is spinning on that small an axis on the bowling ball, it never grips the lane and goes into a roll. And so that ball just continued down the lane too far, didn't get back to the pocket. Gus, another very good spare shooter, shouldn't have any problem with the 2-pin here.
Dead center. Let's go back to his first ball.
Here again, you see Gus tuck the ball behind his right hip, bring it around the side. See already how his hand is on the side of the ball, and it'll continue around instead of lifting up. Well, that continuing around creates that spin. And when you get that much spin on the ball, it doesn't grip the lane surface, and that's why it gets so far down the lane. As opposed to Mike Shady's ball. Now, he rolls the ball. Either way, he can be very successful. I'm not saying one is better than the other, but this ball is going to roll up in the pocket much sooner and more directly than Gus Yannaras'.
Shady is 31 years old. Columbia Pulse is up by 19. We'll return with more from the Bowl-A-Vard lanes here in the Wisconsin capital. Media coverage of this event, Doug Schmidt from the 10-Pin Journal in Milwaukee, and thanks for all the coverage he's given to us. And there's Bob DeZonia, the Capital Times. bowling writer. While we are away, Lever with a strike, Greg Shields with the spare, Columbia Pulse up by 17. Lennie Boresch, the man from Kenosha. 2 PBA regional titles to his credit.
Oh, got a little break there, too. That ball got completely away from him. Barely got part of the head pin. Had he missed the head pin, he would have had much more difficult spare. And even at that, he was fortunate to kick the 9 out, the last pin to go, leaving only the 3 pin.
If you're happen to be joining us late, as Lynn's limited team defeated the Hawthorne Lanes in our first match by 30 pins. Playing for the championship against Columbia Pulse of Lincoln, Nebraska. The winner, the automatic trip to the Grand Championship.
And all kinds of good prizes along with it, Jay.
And needs cash and
shoes and all kinds of good stuff.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Rings. All that stuff you and I never get. Maybe if we got there and bowl, we get some of that good stuff.
You would anyway.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say, is that if these other people that are watching this team together get out there and bowl, maybe they can get some of that good stuff.
That's right. Well, this is not a bad deal.
It's not a bad deal. Here we are up here. There's Mark sitting up there, make
Mark
sure we know what the score is.
The assistant manager here is doing our scoring, and he's he does everything. He's chief cook and bottle washer here.
I saw him washing glasses the other day. I couldn't believe it.
Dill a little trouble at the foul line, picks up the spare.
Well, who's going to make the first move and really take charge of this match? Right now, it's less than 2 marks separating these two teams.
Yeah, they're kind of jockeying for position.
Kind of wishy-washy.
Leading by 16, and
Lynn's the only one that really seemed to have any offense going. I mean, not Lynn's, but Columbia Pulse. They have that small lead.
Here's Brinkman. Looks good. Oh, tough break there as the 10 standing.
Some good shots on that left-hand lane have not struck lane 9 here at Bowl-A-Vard Lanes, and you know, that's could be a variety of things. We've watched Yannaras leave the 10 pin a couple times. I mentioned that the rotation of his ball could be part of it. Could be that the oil is a little farther down the lane. It's hard to enter the pocket at a good angle to strike, but again, if you make good shots, generally you get a good result. And fill frames, right, Jay?
Yeah, and the release is so important on lanes like these.
It is. Getting the right ball speeds right, so you get the right entry angle, really is the key to whether you can strike or not. If you can enter the pocket at the right angle, regardless of the rotation, it's almost always going to strike. If you enter the pocket at the wrong angle, but still hit the pocket, you almost always will leave something standing.
The left-hander, Miller. They're all down.
Definitely all down there. When you cross over like he did there, the ball actually hits about 6 pins. So you can't hardly leave much standing. Here, watch the ball go down the line here. The ball's going to hit the head pin, the 3 pin, the 6 pin, the 9 pin, the 10 pin. Just wipes out the whole right side. They're all gone. So it's pretty hard to leave anything standing there.
Dale Traber. Columbia Pulse leads by 17. Traber for Linz needs a strike. Well,
Dale got out of sync there. He just got out of rhythm a little bit and tried to force that one down the lane. And you can see him talking to himself. Sometimes when you wait and wait and wait for your turn to bowl, you just kind of lose that feel, that rhythm, that timing that you need to make that good shot. And when you're playing the extreme outside angle near the edge of the channel there, where Dale Traber is playing, you don't want to make any mistakes to the right. Kind of hard to hook him back out of the gutter. Should be a fairly simple spare. He crossed the head pin and let the ball do the work on the other 2. There it goes.
93% spare shooting for Traber.
Lynn's with 1 open and never got a double the whole game, and they're going to get out of here with somewhere in the 180 neighborhood, Jay. And that's not a bad game for openers, but it's not going to be enough to take the lead here in the opening game of this 2-game total pin match.
Now the 7 is standing.
A little better shot there.
Kevin McGerr.
An opportunity to take a substantial lead with a couple strikes here in the 10th frame and something in that 40 pin bracket, which would be a lot. Actually, they need 2 strikes here just to hold their average.
72% strike shooting. He had a lot of problems there. Something really fouled him up at the approach.
Well, you know, we watched one of their players shoot the 10 pin a little while ago and have problems over there and lose his footing. Now he gets it out. Watch his foot sliding. He was very close to fouling. He couldn't stop. And a foul would have been a disaster.
Yeah,
but it might have been better than this.
Quickly, yeah, he's
foul
really.
Might have been actually better than this. This is a real tough spare. A foul would have been no count on a strike, and he could have filled the spare.
There goes that opportunity to build up quite a lead.
The breaks of the game. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad.
We'll be back with Game 2. Lynn's Limited and Columbia Pulse in a moment. There's Jeff Karros, his Going Bowling publication. We have a lot of publications, of course, all over the country, and we've had great media coverage here. Jeff Fick of the Wisconsin State Journal on hand to cover this World Team Challenge. And it's nice always to see those folks here covering the World Team Challenge, which has grown tremendously in popularity over the past few years. Mike Shady ready to begin for Columbia Pulse. Doesn't get any better than that, boys and girls.
That's how you do it. Nothing wasted there. Everything he does has a purpose, and he combines all those little purposes into one great result.
Well, some of the awards, of course, the Brunswick bowling balls and the Lynn shoes, the Grand Championship rings, trip to the Grand Championship, playing for over $15,000 in prize money. Gus Yannaras. That was a little high on the head pin.
Gus struggling a little bit, leaves the 610, and remember, after each game we change lanes. This is a 2-game championship match, total pins to decide the winner.
Columbia winning the first game 190 to 183, starting this second game up 7.
And we always talk about how one lane can be slightly different from the other, and that usually is generated by where the players practice and how much they practice on one of those 2 lanes. As they move the dressing around, the oil pattern that's put down by the machine before we start play, which determines how a ball reacts based on where that oil is placed. And it gets moved around by the bowling balls, it can create a completely different reaction than you would expect from one lane to the other.
Shields, who works for Jackson County, Missouri, their circuit court there, lives in Kansas City.
Well, on a strike, couldn't take advantage of it. The washout, 1, 2, 4, 10. And Greg a little confused, and he's trying to wonder what's going on out there. He thought he made a pretty good shot. Idea here is to get the ball on the left side of the head pin, drive the head pin into the 10. The ball will take out the 2-4. Greg going to use his strike ball and line up off his strike angle. Just tried to hook the ball in front of the head pin enough to get it into the 10. Got to hurry. Yes.
Oh, that's the way to do it. What a fine shot.
Yeah, he's always been one of the fine players in the St. Louis area for a number of years. So it shows you why he can make shots like that. See those fingers taped together there? That's to give a little strength to that ring finger. Ryan needs to get something going here for Lynn's.
All right.
Well done.
Filling in pretty well.
I'd say so.
Qualifying averages, and there you see, of course, that 221 all-time Baker record here for Columbia. Columbia 7-3 in match play. The other 2 teams that made it to this TV final at 5-5. Columbia was right up there almost all the way, and Hawthorne Lanes made a big move.
Boy, another good shot there for Columbia, but just couldn't carry the 10-pin. But they are keeping those frames full, Jay. That washout that Greg Shields picked up was very important. This match so close.
Jim Dill to pick up the spare.
Well, if Linz wants to win one, and we know how badly they want to win one because we've seen over the last year how they've struggled with those second places, they have to start soon because they need to be aggressive and get something going offensively, just like that.
Big shot from Lennie Boresch.
They can't wait around and expect Columbia to give it to them. It's not going to happen. They're going to have to go out and take it away from them, and that's how you do it, folks. You throw strikes, you attack the pocket, you don't throw it with any kind of a tentative release. You get very aggressive, and that's what he did. Columbia struggling on the left-hand lane. That seems to be the more difficult of the two lanes so far from what we've seen, Jay, and even the left-hander having a little trouble getting the ball into the pocket area. The only lefty on the telecast today of 15 players.
Rick Miller.
Rick not really having much problem getting his marks, just having a lot of problems keeping the ball in the pocket area. And look out. Oh boy. Yeah, there we go. The 2-4-7, and he leaves the 7th. Real opportunity here for Linz. On a strike, a chance to double it up and take a real strong lead, actually on a double, a chance to make it 3 in a row and really stretch this lead out into a position where Columbia is going to feel some heat.
Spotlight falls on Steve Brinkman. Oh boy, and all of the guys on this Linz team come to their feet. Gus Yannaras leading the charge.
That's right, and that's why you pick up a guy like this and you add him to your team, because you know he can do these kind of things when you need him. What a great shot, and they're off the bench. That's the emotion we've always seen out of Gus Yannaras and his teams. Columbia just continues to struggle on this left-hand lane, and they look a little down in the mouth. Like
they sure do.
They're kind of wondering.
The momentum has moved back over to Linz Limited. Kevin McGerr.
Well, this is going to be an interesting shot from my point of view. Now, Dale Traber has been playing that left-hand lane right near the ball return for the last full game, and now he's over here on this lane with a little more room to play. It's going to be interesting to see if he doesn't give it too much room on the right, because he won't be walking around the ball return anymore. Will it be light in the pocket? Good shot. What a great shot. Oh, boy. Boy, he's ready, I'll tell you. He's been the strength of the team.
The Iceman, cool under pressure. Linz and Columbia. There's our score. Back with more. Four-bagger has vaulted Linz into the lead, and here is Mike Shady to start it off for Columbia.
Oh, really fine play. He is making good shots, Jay. Ball finishing just a little bit high in the pocket, the 4-pin. One of the hits that's been carrying pretty well, the high hit this week. They've tripped a lot of 4-pins. This Linz team is the story of the day right now, because they led the qualifying rounds by 182 pins over the second-place team, whereas the Columbia team qualifying in third place, some 200-plus pins behind them. When Gary had to go home, Jaroszewski, when he went back to the bowling center because of that charity that he had said he'd be there for, they struggled in the first 5 matches of match play and fell into second and almost into third place. But they made a charge back, and here they are in the driver's seat, a chance to win a tournament. Finally, in Gus Yannaras' mind, it's finally.
They're beginning to feel it. This Linz team, some kind of hot right now.
And he got that ball wide, Jay, but he got it into a roll, and that's the difference. The ball went into a roll earlier for him, got back to the pocket, and that's the reason he struck. Here's a great look at it. See how wide that ball is out near the channel, but look at it roll back.
5 in a row. Greg Shields, a little high on the head pin.
Linz looking at a great opportunity for some bonus money from the high roller people, Jay.
They sure are. High roller tournaments in Las Vegas have that high score bonus. Team picks up $500 when they roll a 240 game. Another $5 for the 450 series.
That 450 is a little tougher to reach, but they still have an opportunity. But the 240 is only one strike away.
That's right. You talked about jockeying for position, and all of a sudden Lynn's just turned it up a notch, didn't they?
They did. They just got it all together, and you know, they've been fighting and scratching for the last 2 years, and it's been such an emotional roller coaster for these guys. They finally looks like they've got a chance to make it happen, and boy, would they just love it. There'd be tears out there, I'm sure, if they win this. And Jeff Lynn, I wouldn't be surprised if he shed a few of them.
I'm sure he'll be out there to congratulate him.
Not an easy spare here, and they can't afford mistakes. There's still room in this match, and we know how it can turn around. The 3-6-10. He wants to get all 3 pins with the ball if he can. Just run it down the line. If not, let the 6 pin take out the 10. Here we go. Just like that. Well done.
The head cheerleader, Mr. Yannaras, working overtime.
Oh boy, I tell you, when he gives you those high fives, you feel them clear down to your ankles. I mean, he can nail you.
Jeff Dill Jr. won the St. Louis World Team Challenge qualifier in '94. Lynn's Limited up by 42.
Still having a little approach problem over there, and when you lose your footing, in other words, your foot starts to slip a little bit, you lose your leverage, your ability to plant and get the ball through with any kind of power or speed, ball speed, and that's what he's losing when the foot slips a little bit.
Well, this team set that Baker average of 221.1 here, a record, but they are in real trouble as Lynn's Limited has gotten hot at the right time. Lennie Boresch now to try to keep the string going. Gotta hurry. The 10 is there.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's very happy with that. Very happy with that. Got it light in the pocket, just enough to get the head pin into the wall and kick out the corner pins on the left side, and an easy spare here for Lennie. He's switching bowling balls, as so many of them do. A ball that's shiny, won't hook, cross lane, hard and straight.
Lynn's Limited up by 42.
Well, Lennie's done all he could do for Lynn's. Now he sits down and watches the rest of his team, the Baker system. Everybody has to contribute.
Upcoming events, Orange County in late November, Ogden, Utah.
That ought to be an interesting one there.
Yeah,
looking forward to that.
Being out in Ogden. The strike for Rick Miller. Now Brinkman. Sure, we'll see this Columbia Pulse team. These fellows from Lincoln. 3 from Lincoln and 1 from Oshkosh and 1 from Missouri. We'll see them again on the World Team Challenge qualifiers. Oh my, the 10 is standing.
Well, they need a double. They need one more double to qualify for that $500 from the high roller people out in Vegas. So that's what Gus is hoping for right now. He knows they've got the tournament won. He's thinking, get us a strike. So Dale only needs 1 in the 10th instead of 2. But now Dale, Traber, they need this spare, and then Dale needs to get 2 strikes in the 10th for them to get that $500 bonus money, which is that'll pay for a hotel's room tonight and you know, a couple of meals. Hang on. All right. Got to pull for him to get that bonus money. I'm sure even Columbia's pulling for him now to get the bonus money.
They have done a great job of filling the frames, and they really did get hot.
I know some guys in a truck that are even pulling for him to get this bonus money.
Lynn's up by 41. Kevin McGerr. Finish it up for Columbia.
Kevin's got a lot of pride. He's going to give it his best shot here and just try to strike it out for the team. Look out. Oh my, almost got a break there. Only the 2 pin, and you can see the disappointment on his face, and that's reflected in his teammates' faces as well, Jay, because they gave it everything they had and just wasn't their week. Lynn's knows all about that.
Yeah, Lynn's has knocked on the door a lot of times, and it's finally open for them.
Finally open. They led the qualifying, as I mentioned, by a big margin. You mentioned earlier they started out of the gate with the first game 1192, which is the biggest game of the week. And they never looked back until one of their players had to leave, and they struggled in match play. But they've come back strong in the championship match, and here they are.
179 for Columbia, and a total of 369.
Well, Dale Traber is the man of the hour now. His teammates are sitting on the bench saying, come on, Dale, this is $100 apiece now. Get us 2 strikes here. And
little pocket money.
High roller people are out there with the check all written, ready to sign it, put it in the mail.
Yeah, now that they've won, of course, they can't bowl again for any action like this until the Grand Championship later in the summer.
Get the first one. Come on,
year.
Dale. Come on, Dale.
All right. They're up. Look at them all out there. One more, please. Look at Gus. I'm telling you, this has been good stuff here in Madison, Wisconsin, at the beautiful Bowl-A-Vard Lanes. Well, let's see if ice can put the icing on the cake.
All right, let's watch. For $500, and he tripled 4. How about that?
Gus Yannaras, you mentioned, is down from West Dallas, Wisconsin. Look at him. I imagine they might lift a few tonight over at the tavern there.
Oh, no, not Gus.
Boy, oh boy, did this Lynn's team get it going late, huh?
Yeah,
wonderful fashion.
Yep, and it's a great way to finish it out for him. He just tried to hit the head pin here.
All right. They're going to receive a $500 bonus for their score of 244 and a total of 427 as Lynn's Limited from Milwaukee wins this Brunswick World Team Challenge here at the Bowl-A-Vard Lanes in Madison, Wisconsin. We'll be back to talk it over with the winners right after this. The Brunswick World Team Challenge is brought to you by Brunswick. Bowling is sold on Brunswick worldwide. By Contour Power Grips, the pioneers of the finger grip industry. More pros choose Contour Power Grips. You should too. By Keepsake, designer and manufacturer of championship ring awards. By Bud Light, make it a Bud Light. And by the American Bowling Congress and the Women's International Bowling Congress, providing championship service to sanctioned leagues across the United States. Make sure your league is sanctioned by the national governing bodies. Here are the champions, Lynn's Limited. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Gus Yannaras, you all really got hot.
It was about time. I mean, we were knocking on the door and it finally opened.
It finally opened. Indeed, that's exactly what I said. Conroy Green Deer, our friend from the Ho-Chunk Nation, Ho-Chunk Casino and Bingo, is here to present the plaque.
Congratulations, Gus and gentlemen, on your fine achievement this weekend here at Bowl-A-Vard Lanes in Madison. On behalf of Ho-Chunk Casino, I'm honored to go ahead and present you this award. This signifies your achievement this weekend. You did a miraculous job, great bowling, good fun, good fortune, all the way to the grand finals.
Thank you very much, Conroy. Good to see you guys. Gus, it was great. We'll see you at the Grand Championship. You got the job done early this time. There they are. Lynn's Limited, our champions here in Madison, Wisconsin. The next Brunswick World Team Challenge telecast is an open division event from the ABC West Lanes in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Check your local sports network listings for dates and times. For Earl Anthony, this is Jay Randolph. So long from Bowl-A-Vard Lanes in Madison, Wisconsin. This has been an ABC Eagle Productions telecast.